So something I picked up from Richard actually a while back that stuck with me, and I apply it in a lot of different things in life and otherwise too, is avoid going out of your way to say or do things that aren't in your benefit, have no benefit to you, and can only maybe cause you harm or cause you get in some weird situation. So, for example, don't tell people you have crypto. Don't wear clothes that say PulseChain millionaire bitches. Don't wear, stuff like that. Like, if you're going to a meetup or whatever, where you're in company like that and you want to flash and show off, even then afterwards, I would probably change to something less crazy like that. If you're just wearing logos, I think that'd be fine. But in general, if you don't want to be a target, don't make yourself a target. People tend to be attracted, or I would say, people who are looking to steal something or take something or do something to, malicious or take advantage of some situation, are looking for signs that an opening, right? They're opportunistic. A lot of people are opportunistic if they're that kind of people. So if you go out of your way to expose yourself like that, then, you're sort of, you're in a way, you're unintentionally, of course, but you're inviting trouble in a way. So wouldn't tell people I have crypto. Be careful with what the swag and stuff you wear, unless you're in, obviously group meetup conferences, something like that. It's a little bit different. You can get a virtual credit card. It's something interesting that I don't think a lot of people, probably nobody does, is you can get virtual credit cards. Just Google for virtual credit card, free, all this stuff. And you can basically link it to maybe another credit card, your bank account, whatever. And they'll give you this credit card that you can use any name, any address, whatever you want. And it's totally legit. There's nothing sketchy about it. It's just basically a proxy for your actual card. And then it stops spam, junk mail, all that stuff. Again, ton of legit services who do this, a lot of them for free. And you get prepaid debit cards to this too. Every physically store sells them, like Walgreens, every pharmacy I feel like sells them, Walmart, every gas station sells them. So you don't need to buy stuff online with your real information. You just don't have to. Now, if you want to get the stuff, you need to go, buy a PO box or something like that, or arrange it to pick it up at, your friend's house or whatever like that. But you don't need to keep giving out all this personal information on the internet. Just Google for how to not do that. And there's nothing sketchy. Again, it's all legit stuff. A lot of legit ways to do it these days. So again, you can buy a PO box. You can get a virtual debit card, credit card, whatever. Google for the options. There's plenty of them. I don't really need to recommend any. Just Google for virtual card and you'll find them. And then Proton Mail, again, I was clipping Richard today and he was like, yeah, Gmail reads all your emails. Yeah, he's pretty right on that. So get Proton Mail. That way you don't have to send it to your real email address. And then you can buy stuff online without using your real name, your address, your credit card, or your email. It's pretty good. It's the most anonymous you can get. So there you go. What do you think, Ben? Have you had any experience being anonymous on the internets?
No, that's all really good info. My brother did, he doesn't like crypto, but for some kind of work thing, they gave him these not your coins, not your keys, keychain things. He was like, here, Ben, I thought you'd want these. And I was like, oh, huh. And then my girlfriend put it on our key fob to go to the gym or the pool at our apartment complex. And I was like, no, I was like, take this off. I was like, I don't want to carry this thing around flashing to everyone hey, I have private keys, come find my apartment.
Right.
So and I used to it's this weird thing where I'm excited that I'm in crypto and I love and I'm passionate about it, so I want to tell everyone about it, but I have found that it's better to just say, oh, I do online work or something boring, because it just can get weird with people, for sure. And I have a whole story I could tell, but I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole of a kind of weird situation that happened once.
Ooh, well, I mean, just real quick. I mean, we can just real quick on that point. Just the fact of you saying that, it may get weird with people. Again, it goes back to what I said. There's no benefit in doing this stuff. Maybe you could even correlate it to delayed gratification versus instant gratification. Your instant gratification is, oh, I get to be flashy. I get to show people my stuff. I get to, maybe somebody gives me a compliment. Maybe more people talk to me because I have something interesting that I'm showing that they want to ask me about. Yeah, sure. You get that little hit of dopamine or whatever. But now you just put your bags in danger. You put, maybe depending on where you are, yourself in danger even. So it's just not worth it. You got to think like, it's no benefit in doing all of this stuff. Again, unless you're in light company, you're in a safe place, all those things. But yeah, where PulseChain, I love the PulseChain Millionaire Loading shirt. That's like a really popular shirt. But I would never wear that anywhere except to a conference. And then afterwards, I would not wear it out because I'm not trying to, I don't want to get robbed. So like, just don't put yourself in those situations. Yeah, man, if you got a story you want to share, go for it. If you got something that you think would help people.
Man, I was traveling. I was actually in Liverpool, and I told the Uber guy that I was in crypto, and then he was like, "Oh, how much money you make from that? Is it a lot?" And I was just like, "Oh, making conversation I shouldn't have." And then our Airbnb was near the Liverpool Stadium, which is around the stadium is like public housing. So, and he was telling us, "Oh, this is a bad neighborhood. Be careful, all this stuff." And he drops us off at the Airbnb, and he was like, I was like, "All right, me and my girlfriend are going to go check he was like, "I'll wait for you, to make sure the car, it's not a scam or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll go check it, and you wait here." And he just like got out of the car and followed us to the door. And then he followed us into the apartment and started checking. He walked all the way to the back door and like opened the door and was opening all the doors and was like, "Yeah, this looks good. Oh, just okay. You got like a back entrance here and stuff." And then he was like, "All right, take your passports with you and lock the doors and be careful." And then he left. And I was like, so
wow.
we literally went to a hotel. I was like, "No way." I was like, "We're not staying here." Like
That's strange. Wow.
Yeah. And then we remembered when he picked us up, he literally picked up our luggage, and my girlfriend had like this new luggage she had bought for us to travel. He was like, "Oh, nice new luggage." And we didn't really think anything of it at the time. But then in hindsight, I was like, "Yeah, that whole encounter was like really weird."
Yeah. Sound like he was trying to figure stuff out to perhaps come back and borrow it from you sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, I think it's fine." I was like, "No, we're leaving." So it was a costly mistake because then I paid for I didn't get a refund for the Airbnb, but I was like, I'd rather pay for a hotel, and I had to pay extra because it was a last minute hotel booking. But I was like, I would rather do that than sit here and think like, "Oh, I'm going to get like run up on or whatever." Yeah. So, and it was not the best area, even though the Airbnb was nice. This guy could have just come and robbed me, and then they would have been like, "Oh yeah, I was like a crackhead or something." I don't know.
Yeah. So you would agree there's no benefit in talking about crypto to your Uber driver.
And then what was crazy is I called an Uber to take us to a hotel, and he accepted it, and then I had to cancel it, and I was freaking out. I'm dead serious. And so then I was trying to use a taxi app, and no one would take the thing, so I had to get like a Uber XL. Dude,
it was costing a lot of money on that particular trip. Yeah,
it was pretty stressful.
Wow. I bet.
That's a story. It's just not worth it. And even if it's not a threatening thing, then you just have someone who's like, "Oh, crypto, oh," and they want to tell you about how much it sucks, and like they're just rude about it or weird about it, or they think you're like a scammer or something, like, "Oh, you're in crypto, so you must be like scamming people or like something." I've gotten that kind of vibe too. People are like, "Oh, you're like a scumbag." It's like, well, that kind of sucks.
No benefit in talking about crypto to you. No benefit. That's I've never got that. I don't think I've ever told a driver that I was in crypto. And I think, well, maybe last summer when we were at PulseCon.
I did it, I was like, "Oh, that was stupid."
Yeah, that's a good point though too. Especially you don't want to talk about those things when they're taking you. So like, there's a difference in them dropping you off at a dinner place somewhere, and a difference in that trip or the trip to where you are staying or where you live. Totally different. So, if you're going to talk about it, don't talk about it when they're taking you home where you're going to be at night and stuff. Like, talk about it like you got a one-off taking you 10 minutes to a restaurant or something like that. And they're not picking up where you're staying, of course. So there's different spectrum of that.